We good, Braden?
So close. Hold on.
Okay.
Looks like we're good. Go ahead.
All right, thank you. I'll call the September 16th meeting of the Berrien County CCAB to order. First thing I'd like to do this afternoon is introduce our new members. We have 4 new members. I know at least a quick check showed at least 3 are present, but I want to just welcome and introduce the following. First of all, I'm going to start with Judge Smith. Circuit Court Judge Jennifer Smith is joining the CCAB. Judge Smith is, by my notes, completing her 2nd year on the bench. She is currently assigned to the family division, as am I. Judge Smith spent, I believe it was from looking at the bio, approximately 21 years in the prosecutor's office here in Berrien County. The last 5 years, Judge Smith was the chief assistant to Prosecutor Mike Sepik, meaning that she was the number 2 person in the prosecutor's office. I've known Jen for a long time. She's an outstanding trial attorney, and she's been an asset to the Berrien County bench on the 5 years, for the 2 years. That's me, that's 5 years, her at 2 years, that Jen's been on the bench here. So we welcome Judge Smith to the bench. We welcome Judge Smith to the CCAB and know that she is going to be an asset with all her criminal law experience that she brings. Next is Dr. Ann Cornell is joining the CCAB. Dr. Cornell is the Director of Behavioral Health Services at Riverwood CMH. Dr. Cornell is currently the chairperson of the board of the National Family Preservation Network. I know she comes to Berrien County from Arizona, and she brings with her a trauma-informed approach to the community with her over 30 years experience in working with vulnerable populations in community-based services. I'm just in the process of getting to know Dr. Cornell. She was kind enough to speak at, I believe it was a family division leadership meeting where she introduced herself and spoke. And I believe Dr. Cornell and I are going to be speaking in the near future about the number of items as they relate to both the populations that we serve here in Berrien County. So I think Dr. Cornell also will be a great asset to the CCAB here in Berrien County. Next, new member of the board, this I think is officially member of the board because I know Paul Jancha has been at meetings before, but that is Paul Jancha, the chief public defender here in Berrien County, is joining the CCAB. Paul's a licensed attorney, of course, has more than 10 years experience, much of which, probably all of which, if I asked Paul, would be in the criminal law world. He clearly has a vested interest in advocating for appropriate community-based treatment for all the clients of the public defender's office, which he, as I said, is in charge of. And I think Paul's really will bring some special perspective in this role on the CCAB, vested interest clearly in keeping folks out of jail, out of prison, and working in the community going forward. So we welcome Paul as well. And finally, we have Daniel Unruh Sr. I know to me, it's still Danny Unruh from his days at the Berrien County Sheriff's Department, but now it's Chief Unruh because Chief Unruh happens to be the police chief in Bridgman and has been for a number of years. Chief Unruh has 43 years of law enforcement experience. He is currently the Police Service Council's representative to the 911 Technical Committee and is actually the past president and a past officer of the Berrien County Police Services Council. Danny and I go way back. I couldn't tell you all the things that when I was in the prosecutor's office in the 80s, along with some other current judges that were the APAs at that time. I would not published the things that we did or said we could do and not get in trouble for, but I think Danny was involved in some of that. So Danny, my promise is that I'll stay silent on that if you stay silent on that as well. But we do welcome Chief Unruh to this board. We've had the sheriff certainly for a long time, but I know there's been an opening for a police chief, and I think Chief Unruh will do an excellent job of representing the police chiefs on this board. So those are our 4 new members. I wanted to start with that. We've been short some folks, and it's great to have you all be part of the board here. So welcome to all 4 of you. The next item on the agenda is approval of the minutes from the July 15th meeting. First of all, I trust that everybody's received and had opportunity to review those minutes. Anybody have any corrections or modifications that they feel need to be made to the minutes that were submitted in this case? All right, hearing none, is there a motion to approve those minutes?
Motion to approve.
Was that Prosecutor Mike Sepik? Thank you, Mike. And is there support for that?
I'll support.
second it.
Chris Hugo.
All right, I've got Chris Hugo was the first in on the support. So all those in favor of approving the minutes, please say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? All right, those July 15th minutes of the CCAB are therefore approved. Next on the agenda, we've got Kevin with the jail population report. Do we have Kevin here with us this afternoon?
Yes, you do.
Kevin, go right ahead.
Okay, today's total jail count is 285. The classified count is 255. We have 49 female inmates, and we have a total of 96 on tether.
All right, that's a increase. I've not been following that real closely, Kevin, but I guess, is it fair to say that the jail population for the past, I don't know, you tell me 60 or 90 days has been slowly creeping up to its, not at the pre-COVID levels, but much closer than we were, again, 60, 90 days ago. Is that accurate?
Yeah, even back to just the beginning of this month, September 1st, we were at 248 total, and today we're at 285. So even in the past 16 days, we've increased quite a bit.
Wow. Okay. Any questions for or comments? Questions for Kevin or comments as it relates to the jail population? Okay. Thank you, Kevin. Next up, we've got the KPEP utilization report. Robin, is Robin present with us today?
Yes, I'm here.
Hi, Robin.
Hi. We are currently at 54 in-house. We're kind of just riding in between the 50 and 60 mark, which is comfortable for us right now, given COVID. We have reinstated outpatient substance abuse in-house, outpatient sex offenders in-house. Substance abuse outside is still being done via Zoom. At this time, we're kind of working our way back into having outpatient groups returning to the facility. We're just kind of staggering that out some. Currently, we are under the MRT contract through CCAB until October 1. And once that stops, we are looking to combine our enrollees into one group. And it will be a self-pay group unless there somehow manages to be funding, that comes up for that. Which Haley and I have discussed. We currently have 11 enrolled and only 3 to 5 currently attending weekly. So we'll have to kind of revisit that and make sure that we have enough for a group if we want to continue it. Otherwise, things are going well here. We've had no positive cases and we want to keep it that way.
Absolutely. Well, that's good news. Anybody have any questions for Robin as it relates to KPEP?
Judge, I don't, but actually after a little bit of thought, I have a couple questions for Kevin. Can we jump back to Kevin?
You certainly can. Let's go. Go ahead, Mike.
Thank you. Kevin, first of all, that increase in the jail population, can you attribute that at all to sentenced or unsentenced or proportional increase?
I can't directly contribute to that, but I know that our unsentenced population is extremely low.
Okay. And then also that 96
I'm sorry. Our sentence population. I'm sorry. I apologize.
is low.
Yeah, our sentence population is extremely low.
Gotcha. That makes more sense.
Yeah.
And also on that tether of 96, that sounds kind of high. Is that trend, has that trended upwards as well?
We've been approaching 100 for probably since the COVID situation kicked off. We've been upper 90s up to 100.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Sure.
Yeah, good. Thanks for that, Mike. I appreciate that and the little bit of clarification there. I didn't hear any questions for Robin. If anybody has any or comments as it relates to KPEP, feel free to jump in now, or hopefully we'll have a minute at the end for any questions as well. Next on the agenda, we've got pretrial supervision update. That is Don Roscoe, our Chief Probation Officer. Don?
Yes, thank you. So it's really interesting that the jail, we're seeing an increase in the jail, and that is correlating to our data as well as Haley is pulling it up. So the month of July and August, we are seeing about in the month of July, we've seen about 26% of those that have classified for the supervision program being able to get released. And then in the month of August, it's dropped to 19%. So that does correlate with what the jail is doing, right? I mean, jail's numbers are going up. So we're seeing that the release, potential pre-release is kind of dropping. So that would mean more in jail at the time. So, but as far as the numbers go, as far as how many were enrolled, and how many are being discharged, a pretty much flat curve for July and August. So we're running about the same. Something to note that has changed, that we did a couple procedural things that's kind of put in place during time of arraignment to help the judges out to make determination if someone would be eligible for the program. And that's the concurrence rate as you look on the screen. So we're at 87% and 92% concurrence rates. Basically, those that are eligible, those are the percentages that the judge are actually ordering them to pretrial supervision if they end up being able to bond out. So that's kind of the update of what's happening with pretrial supervision.
Thanks, Don. Questions for Don, or as it relates to our pretrial release? Okay.
Actually, I did have one question, Don, and I couldn't see it obviously off that last slide. Where are you in terms of program?
I'm sorry, Paul, where are we in terms of what?
The total capacity, because you said the numbers are they were staying flat through July and August, and there's a very high concurrence rate. So it looks like those recommended are being approved for that program. Where are you at in terms of capacity? How many more people are you capable? Or maybe I'm seeing it down at the bottom here.
Well, we try to target, I mean, the caseload would be 60. So we are definitely below that number. So just because they're eligible for the program, obviously they need to be bonded out, right, in order to be in the program. So that's kind of what's kind of limiting us right now. But as we continue, there's also a lot of things still in play. There's still things that aren't being done in the courts, as far as we've got a lot of arraignments that have not happened yet because we're just not allowing them into the building yet to have those hearings due to COVID. So this number, I'm sure, will fluctuate as soon as we can move to a different phase in the courts and continue to do more cases.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Paul. And thanks, Don. And I guess just as a quick aside, in the family division, we've been, as I think some of you may know, been able to, given the types of cases we handle and our Zoom capabilities, we've been up and running pretty much all summer, and the criminal division hasn't been as fortunate. So last I knew, and perhaps Paul or Mike Sepik would know better than me, but last I heard, there's approximately a backlog of 1,100 arraignments or so. So that was the last numbers at the last meeting I attended, and that's substantial. So how that's going to play out in terms of the jail population or the pretrial supervision numbers, I guess is going to, we'll just have to wait and see on that. There's certainly a backlog as far as jury trials go, as we're just getting ramped up on that. It's been a struggle with COVID, as it's been all across the state and the country, I'm sure. But the 1,100 walk-in arraignments are, that's a lot. That's going to take a long time to dig out from. And I know in the criminal division, they're working very hard to organize that and get it done in a way, perhaps working with some of our community partners in terms of even churches and things like that, places where those walk-in arraignments could be held, because we're still, as indicated, limited by our COVID restrictions in terms of the numbers of individuals that we can have in the courthouse. So that continues to be a work in progress. But with that, any other questions for Don Rusko? Sorry, Don, in terms of pretrial supervision update. Okay, then we'll move on. Haley, it's now your show. Manager update.
Hello. Okay. So all of our programs since COVID began, all of our programs are now back up and running, at least in some capacity, whether that's via telehealth or in person. And in terms of our budget utilization, we're currently at 44% of the total utilization altogether. As I previously mentioned in our past meetings, COVID-19 has definitely had an impact on our budget utilization, along with in some programs, a lack of referrals. Other programs have just started this year and we just started getting them running, or we had some new staff in those programs, which I think also impacted some of our utilization numbers. The administration budget is at 64% utilization, and the overall programming budget is at 41% of the budget utilization. And in terms of looking at the drug treatment court testing program, that's at 13% of the program utilization. Those referrals just resumed again in August because we had a new drug treatment court coordinator, and so we just allowed new referrals post-COVID, or we're still in COVID. And now we're at 35% of the drug treatment court budget utilization as well. The MDOC testing program is at 88% of the program utilization, so we get a lot of referrals for that program, and 66% of the budget utilization. MRT program is at 47% program utilization and 26% of the spending. I actually received quite a few new referrals in August. So we went from 24% utilization to 47% utilization in 1 month. Pre-trials at 19% of the program utilization and 46% of the spending utilization. Men in crisis, 70% program utilization and 35% spending. Again, the discrepancies between spending and utilization are primarily due to the lack of expenses from about March to June. Behavioral health assessments are at 95% utilization and 66% of the spending for that budget category. Again, behavioral health treatment has not yet been utilized this year. There's either hasn't been a need, or there haven't been referrals to that program. That's the budget update utilization portion. So if anyone has questions on that, I do have some other updates. Okay, if not, I'm going to move on to the fiscal year 2021 budget. We do not currently have 2021 budget yet. I've not received that. I did attend the State Advisory Board meeting on August 20th, along with Sheriff Bailey, and the MDOC indicated that they hope to have a budget to allocate funding the last week in September. However, as of now, there's a lot of uncertainty in the fiscal year 2021 award. And the county administrator has recommended that all program referrals be halted until we receive that new budget. From my understanding, this is how CCAB has handled it in the past when we do not have a grant award before or leading up to the start of the new fiscal year, which is October 1st, for those that don't know. The goal in that is to avoid starting participants in programs if we may not have spending at that new start of the fiscal year. So that being said, program referrals for men in crisis, MRT, behavioral health treatment, and the MDOC testing program will have to cease as of September 18th on Friday, and then until we receive that new award. So I will keep everyone updated in terms of when we receive that new award. And I guess due to the late grant award, I do also propose that we add an additional meeting. We didn't originally schedule a meeting for November 18th, but the purpose of this meeting was supposed to be to discuss our new grant award, but we do not have that new grant award. So this is really a meeting to give updates and welcome new members now. But the October 21st meeting will be, hopefully we'll have that new budget by then and we can discuss it. And then the November 18th meeting would be to vote on the finalized budget.
Haley, I have a question. This is Judge Berger. In terms of suspending the referrals as of Friday, how does that get communicated to the criminal division judges in terms of what's available to them in terms of sentencings and, referrals and what's not?
I believe that will be a collaboration between, my communication with the judges and with the MDOC probation department in terms of halting referrals, and then with Carrie and some of the administrators.
Okay.
Yeah, Judge, this is Amy Flagga jumping in. Yeah, we'll make sure we get that. We'll piggyback off of whatever Haley sends out and make sure the communication is known.
Great, thank you.
And just keeping in mind, sorry, Judge, this is Carrie, just keeping in mind that the largest number of referrals are not actually court ordered. They're part of the probation order. So those would come, or excuse me, not part of just general probation. So those would come from the Department of Corrections. And so as long as Amber and Marvin can get that information out to their staff, that will be helpful in not adding a couple of weeks worth of referrals. Hopefully we hear something sooner than that.
Great. All right. Thank you, Amy, and thank you, Carrie, for that. Go ahead, Haley. Where else do we go here?
That is all I have for the 2021 budget update. So if no one else has any questions or comments on that, I do want to explain the budget adjustment request a little bit before we vote on that final budget adjustment request before the end of the fiscal year. So due to the increased need for remote work equipment for our pretrial supervision program, a budget adjustment request has, it's requested that we move $1,624.20 from the behavioral health treatment program into the administration category, and under the administration, it's the equipment category. So since there's been, like I mentioned earlier, an unpredictable lack of need for the behavioral health treatment program, I'm recommending that we move from that budget line into the supplies or equipment budget line. And I can share that. I'm not sure. And to be clear, that was for a Surface Pro for the pretrial supervision officer. I wasn't sure if I was clear. And I didn't know if Don Rescuo or Amy Flagga had anything to add to that.
Just really quickly, it's not just kind of the remote thing. It's just being able to be able to move about and not kind of tied to a desk too, as we continue to try to build the pretrial supervision services and the pretrial program, just having that flexibility would be very helpful in that.
Amy, did you have anything there?
Yeah, no, I think Don said it well, that we are trying to, this program, we expect to continue to grow and get bigger. We need to be able to be nimble on our feet, and having that remote capability is only going to make it stronger.
Okay, I think that's reasonable. Anybody else have any questions regarding this, what Haley's proposed as a budget adjustment? How much was it, Haley? About $1,700 for this Surface Pro?
Yep, 1624.
Okay. Any other questions about that? Then is there a motion regarding this proposed budget adjustment for the board?
So moved.
All right.
Second.
All right, it's supported. All those in favor of this $1,624 budget adjustment for this Surface Pro for the pretrial supervision officer. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed to this budget adjustment? All right, hearing nobody, then that's a done deal. Very good. Thank you for that. Haley, anything else at this point?
Nothing else on my manager update, no.
All right, thank you. Anybody else have any, we have a minute here, any open discussion, any questions or comments or statements that anybody would like to make at this time? And then in a minute, if not, we'll open it up for public comments if there are any. Okay, I don't hear anything. Braden, do you have anything as it relates to public comments? Or Haley, maybe you can check that for me.
Yeah, I'm not seeing anything on the YouTube channel for public comments.
Okay. Then hearing no comments here on the board, there being no public comments, any other discussion anybody would like to have as it relates to today's meeting or what we just went over? Quiet group. Okay. Okay, then we'll leave it at that. Next board meeting is that's Wednesday. Had to check the day, but they're almost always Wednesdays. Wednesday, October 21st, 2020 via Zoom, same instructions. I shouldn't say that. I'm used to saying that in court. Haley will send out the instructions for that Zoom meeting, but it will be at 12:15 on October the 21st. And at that time, we should have some budget information. Haley, you did tell me in a conversation we had either earlier this week or last week that when you spoke with Molly from the state that it's expected that there will be, I won't say significant budget cutbacks, but there will be some changes in the amount that we're looking at here. Do you agree with that, Haley?
Yes, from my understanding, we were told to expect budget cuts for 2021.
Okay. All right, so we'll see when we come back in October. I know, Haley, is the plan that if you get the budget, which we certainly should have by the end of the month, that you'll have a proposal for the board to look at when we come back on October 21st. Is that what we should anticipate?
Yeah, that is correct. Hopefully we'll receive the award and we can have discussions on the 21st. And again, November 18th, if we could add a meeting to have a final vote on the 2021 budget.
Okay, that's on the agenda. Go ahead. Oh, sorry. I thought I heard somebody trying to say something. Anybody else have anything to say as it relates to the budget, upcoming budget, the October 21st meeting, and then Haley's added, and it's on your agenda, the November 18th meeting. So we'll have meetings the next 2 months here. Okay, then hearing nothing else, again, welcome to our new board members. Thank you, Haley, for your hard work on this. I know you have lots of other responsibilities. This is part of your job. but we appreciate the work that you do managing this for the CCAB. And with that said, I entertain a motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn.
All right, second.
Second.
All right, thank you. We are adjourned. See everybody in October. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.